say that art can answer unanswerable questions, and I somewhat believe in that, but even as I stare at the most personal works that I've made up till now, I can still think of a lot of questions that art can't answer. So here's one of them. What do you do in your free time? When people used to ask me that, I used to be stumped for an answer. I would say, well, I watch movies, I watch TV shows, I listen to music, I scroll through images, videos, 15-second clips of people dancing on social media, and sometimes, with the boys, I game. Sounds familiar? I think it's safe to say that we spend a lot of time in front of our screens consuming. We consume whenever we have the time to, and sometimes even when we don't. But I'm not here to say that Netflix is bad, that TikTok is evil. That's someone else's job. Let me set up another question. A hobby is defined as something that people do in their free time for pleasure. Google Images likes to show me fishing, knitting, or gardening. Okay? But if we're spending our free time sitting in front of screens and consuming for pleasure, no doubt, does that really make it a hobby? If someone came up to you and asked you what your hobby was, would you reply with your favorite TV show? I don't think so. Wikipedia likes to categorize real hobbies, most popular hobbies, under two categories, indoor and outdoor. And that means creative or active. And that really means active in the mind or in the body. But I think I'm unqualified to talk about the hobbies that are active in the physical body, since I don't have many of those. So I'll be talking about the creative hobbies. I really can't stand it when these famous artists, actors, directors, artists, I said that twice, go on talk shows and talk about these uniquely creative childhoods they lived, that they drew constantly, they acted, they set up plays, they sung, they danced. What kind of child doesn't do at least one of these things? What kind of child isn't born creative? Now, before anyone can make an example of their boring eighth cousin, some parenting studies show that babies find pooping a creative endeavor. So that means that babies are as proud of the poop they make out of their food as they are of the drawings that they make out of their crayons. So even in this natural process of digesting and defecating, children find ways to be creative. At least they feel creative, and they love to create. So I spent a lot of my time in my childhood making a lot of things. That included, I made mud pies outside, and I built Lego sets that my mom bought me, and I stole printer paper from my dad to draw nice cowboys, spaceships, supercars, etc. But then I went to kindergarten and met something called arts and crafts. It was like using just the copy function of a LaserJet printer. We made exactly what the teacher made and exactly how she made it. And as we went from first, second, third, fourth, fifth, all the way into middle school, that's what creativity was. Creativity was doing well on prompted assignments. And I didn't do so well. Teachers love to tell us to think outside of the box for these assignments, but that really means that they first put us inside this box, and they were asking us, elementary schoolers, middle schoolers, to jump out, knowing that we could only jump so high and so far. And that's an important skill. I'm grateful to have learned it, but this pure, inventive, childish creativity, I forgot about it. I think a lot of us forgot about it. I spent middle school under the title of middle school student. I did homework, texted friends, read some books. I watched a lot of video game tutorials on YouTube. And as I spent middle school under the title of middle school student, that was very much all I was. But then, as time went on, and I felt suffocated in this very square, regulated, hyper-organized environment, I ended up exploding. My creativity exploded, and maybe a little unfortunately, it exploded a little bit into high school, and it was a little too late for me to enroll in any of our school's art classes. So art, as in painting or drawing, became my defining hobbies. And that was a very normal chain of very simple events. I gradually quit violin lessons. I needed something to do. I had vaguely enjoyed drawing as a child, so I decided to give it another shot. And a shot was given. How did it feel to learn something so new and so long? Let me make a metaphor out of painting. When you paint, you use a paintbrush, which is basically a bunch of fibers or hairs at the end of a long stick. And different from a sharp point or hard edge of a pen or a pencil, there's really no way to control the way that these fibers bend and twist. You have to leave it up to chance. But that's why we use a paintbrush. That's why we hold the paintbrush by the stick and not by these twisting, dancing fibers. Because at the end of the day, the best parts of your painting are the small accidents that you and your brush made together. It's this ability to trust in those fibers. It's the ability to let chance have a go at the painting. It's this ability to hold your stick of the brush with confidence and dare to just paint on that canvas that makes a good painter. It's trust, chance, and confidence. That's what makes a good painting. And that's what makes a good hobby. It's trust, chance, and confidence. A 3-in-1 deal. And we need this. In our hyper-organized world, ruled by rules and regulations, sometimes we need to dare to just let go. We need this freedom. We need to remember what it was like to love to play when we were just kids. Hobby is just an adult word, an adult's excuse for playtime. It's finally where being a novice is comfortable, where learning is celebrated, where mistakes can become masterpieces, where being bad at something doesn't exist. And we need that freedom. We need these creative outlets for us to experiment. We need time to play. The greatest essayists wrote poetry, monumental songwriters painted, and legendary architects choreographed dances. And let me add, not very well. But they did so because they needed to. They had this compulsion to. And they left their amateur adventures up to history, and we talk about them sometimes. Wow, this essayist writes like a Tumblr 13-year-old, or this architect dances like one of my friends on TikTok. But if they can do these things so shamelessly, why can't we? Saying the word hobby so much is bringing back some bad memories for me. I know that I established that art was my hobby, but it's a little more complicated for me than that. Let me set the scene. It's junior year, a bad night of junior year. I probably had a math test that morning. And I'm sitting on my bed talking to my parents. And mumbling in my head bowed low, here are the words that come out of my mouth. I want to go to art school. My parents go, what? So I say, I declare, I want to go to art school. After all these years, this thing that I'd sworn to my parents was just a hobby had become my hopes and dreams. But how could it have not? You start a hobby maybe because you have free time, and maybe because something is easy to do. But you don't keep a hobby just because it's easy or just because you have free time. Keep in mind, this was junior year. After a while, the hobbies start not being so easy and time runs out. But you keep a hobby because you love it, because you want to do it for the rest of your life. College and career readiness is how we decide the rest of our lives in our school system. And schools honestly try their best to guide us through that process. But what classes are open to us? Do you love any of your classes? Would you do them for fun? Don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed a lot of my classes in high school, and I've had a lot of fun in them, but enjoyment and love are two very, very different things. And how about that Naviance career test that we all took in student services? You know what I got? I got farmer. And yes, there was a time in 9th grade where I wore blue denim overalls to school. But that wasn't because of some kind of agricultural aspiration. No, it wasn't. It was just an honest freshman fashion mistake. But anyways, which one of us discovered our careers, our hopes and dreams through that survey? After all these years, do any of us feel college and career ready? I did my college and career readiness path outside of school, through my hobbies. I took weekend activities and every opportunity I could grab along the way to make my hobby into my life. And adults were scared for me, but I wasn't. I knew what I was doing, or at least I felt like it. But sometimes, isn't that feeling enough? Once a trusted adult asked me during lunch, how do you know you want to do art for the rest of your life? And I'm sitting there eating noodles. And I don't want to answer this question, but I give it a thought because I haven't thought about it before. But I'm not able to come up with an articulate answer, so I just say, it's hard. Like everyone has told me, it's hard. But for some reason, I'm having so much fun. And like a good hobby, I don't have to formulate exactly why I'm having so much fun. When you leave trust, chance, and confidence up to that hobby, the only thing left for me to do is to have fun. Creative careers are just like creative hobbies. They may be unpredictable. We may have to leave some of it up to chance, but we need them in our lives and in our world. On the other side of every show you watch, every movie you see, every song you listen to, every game you play, even every post that you laugh at, are creatives at work. And getting to that other side is like sprinting a marathon. But if you really enjoy this, if you want to do this for the rest of your life, if you have this love for creation, it'll feel more like joyfully sprinting, a really fun marathon. So it's hard, and it doesn't really stop being hard, but what field is easy? Do you go to med school because it's easy? Do you go to law school because it's easy? We need creative careers in the world as much as we desperately need these creative outlets in life. Think about everything you see, hear, taste, and feel, whether that be in art museums or just anywhere you go. Think about who drives culture forward. It's artists and creatives. That's who do it. So for the students here tonight, how do you get there in a county without art high schools, in a community that really values academic aspirations before all else? It's one step, a hub. And I promise, if you take that step and start that creative marathon, and you really truly run that marathon, I promise that the same people that were tugging at your heels, telling you not to, will be at the finish line cheering for you. Are you up for it? But enough stories, enough questions, and enough about me. It's your turn. I don't care if you're going to go out there and become a 5-star general, biomedical engineer, an accountant, or a philosopher. Go out there and make something. And I'm certain that when I said that, all of you thought of something that you've always wanted to make, and don't be ashamed of that. Try it. Use your hands. Make a mess if you need to, because that thing in your head, only you can make that thing real. And if you're really up for it, make it into your life.